So let's get that water stone, eh? Eh? I'm sure the water lady will just hand it to us. The water thief, there's... Why do I keep aggressively healing? Aha! Witness my healing! I'm sure the thief will just give us the stone. But yeah, so many thieves stealing stones. At least Zels had the decency to just pick it up somewhere. It wasn't even guarded by somebody. He's just like, oh, look, a stone. Now I'm evil. You'll soon find that the island of Loch Kildery is, or the Isle of Skye, I suppose, over at Loch Kildery, is quite a small island. Considering they made you go through the Crystal Cavern to prove your worth to Epona and Leela, and I guess the game designers decided to cut you a break and not make you actually fight through another dungeon. Seriously, this island is like super small though. Like, that's it. We're at the end. This is it. If you didn't grind your way up to the level that you wanted to be before getting here, well, sorry, you are SOL. Anyway, we're gonna go... I think we're pretty much spot on for fighting the boss here, so we're good. I know this doesn't look like it, but this is supposed to represent that we're under the lake, and that circle of stones up at the top was supposed to represent a barrier of magic that prevented us from going to the bottom of the lake. Isn't that crazy? Like, that's what I'm talking about we're reaching the point of the game where things feel really kind of wonky, like unfinished. Like, again, we can come back here, and that circle of stones is supposed to be a barrier that prevents people from going to the bottom of the lake. And we're supposed to be underwater now, but it certainly doesn't really look like we're actually underwater. We move around as if we're above water. I don't know. Maybe they purposefully designed it this way. So we fight Nepti. I don't believe it. How could a trifling little human like you get through my barrier so easily? Why have you come here? It must be to see me possess the water jewel, and it will make me queen of the world. Humans will throw themselves at my feet and beg for mercy. Oh yes, you will too. Nepti... Yeah, I don't know about Nepti. Nepti really isn't that hard. She is if you don't have the proper stats, but really, we're just going to sit here and take 20 damage from her and respond in... Oh, I guess we'll take a little more if we're closer. A lot of this fight, though, is just going to be us taking a couple hits, healing it off, walking up close to her. We might even want to fight from a distance, I'm not sure. We'll figure out what the most effective route is. Because if we move to the right, we'll only ever take 12 damage, I think. So if we run to the right, she'll shoot the bubbles, we'll get hit by one of them, and then the other one should miss like that. So I guess we don't even want a waterfall, we'll just kill her with wind. If you didn't have high healing magic, you could do this probably just the same by utilizing your items. Items are really what make the other... Can we soul search her? Oh, we can. That's funny. 880 HP. That's not too bad. But yeah, if you don't have a ton of points in water, your healing magic is probably not going to be really worth it, because you're not going to heal that much more than 13 HP at a time. So you would need to heal through the Hero's Potion or the Celtic Potion or whatever it is. I guess in a way, really the reason water magic is so useful is because it removes the need to rely on finite items. Really, if you run out of items, you're just kind of screwed if you don't have a way to replenish your MP. I don't like it. It feels bad, man. It's certainly doable, though. The game gives you plenty of items. As long as you're not guzzling Celtic potions and throwing your mint leaves into your tea instead of using them to restore MP, you're probably going to be fine. But you see that? We're doing 152 MP. Because I don't entirely understand how it works, but the Drain magic spell steals a percentage of their MP. So when you fight a boss like Nepti, it's not a big deal. But when you fight later bosses, you'll start to notice that the MP you get back every time you do a drain is a little lower and a little lower and a little lower, till eventually they actually run out of MP. Phone is just blowing up today. I should really mute it. Anyway, we're just gonna rinse and repeat this until she dies. Not maybe the most glamorous fight. I wonder if you think Rock would deal more damage? It's really hard to tell how much damage you're actually dealing with Wind Cutter. We're shooting out about, again, we're shooting about 6 blades. One of them usually misses. Let me listen and see if I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's either 5 or 6. Let me listen again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm pretty sure it's 6. I know it's weird that I do things by sound, but I actually have really a lot of trouble seeing things. But sound works really well for me. Anyway, so if we're shooting out 6, and we're dealing roughly 5 to 6 per shot. Let me check here. We need to drain mana, but then we'll check the numbers here again. Yeah, it looks... We'll do 5 on average, and one of them usually misses. So 5 times 5, dealing 25. Let's see how much a rock does. 23, it's just the same. Although, arguably, rock level 2 costs 1 less MP. So it's a little more efficient at the cost of a little less damage. What about Rolling Rock? Is that going to get us too close? 20. Rolling Rock's claim to fame is the ability to hit people from a different direction. Like if they're all lined up in front of you. I think Wind Cutter is still the way to go, though. Okay. What if we tried Walking Water? Maybe Ice Knife? Ice Knife is a pretty bad spell. Walking Water does 26. Again, not that much of a difference. Wind Cutter probably does more, assuming that all 6 blades hit. Which happens from time to time. She's gotten into this habit of using her melee attack. Unlike Zephyr, I don't think she has a mid-range attack. Zeltz. Zeltz is really weird as far as bosses go. Most bosses have a ranged attack and a melee attack. Whereas Zeltz has that weird mid-range attack that he uses. But I'm pretty sure Nepti just has 2 bubbles and then the water pulse, which I really wish she'd stop using. You see there, we're only draining 104 mana now. We can't get away from her. Okay, there we go. If we really ran into trouble, we could use an item called the Giant's Shoes. I think we picked up one of them. And that will give us mad amounts of agility for a little while. Oh, could we also just cast Evade? Would that raise our meter enough to get away from her? Oh, it doesn't really raise it that much. Oh well. Back to Wind Cuttering. We have 880 HP to cut through. Dealing, I'm going to say about 25 to 30 per cast. She has 880 HP. We'll do the math on 25. That's just easier. 25. We'll do 875 divided by 25. So every 4 casts is 100. And then 4 times 8 is 24. We need about a little under 30 casts of this to win. This is what I mean, though. The boss fights tend to reach a point where the designers were like, how do we make it harder? Give them lots of HP. And it's rough because we can't increase our damage output that much. We're using the same spells we had at the very beginning of the game. She's got to be close to dead, though. Probably on our last 200 HP, I would imagine. I would hope. A lot of misses there, though. Nepty's kind of rough if you don't have a good healing spell, or if you can't fight from a distance. I don't know how you fight her if you just do pure fire. Although if you're using fire, I bet she's weak to fire. I bet she takes a lot more damage from it. I would hope anyway. If we had an incentive to get closer to her, it might be worth it to use something like a Water Pillar spell to speed this up. But Water Pillar was doing, what, 30? Can't even remember at this point. I don't think it's worth it. Just in general, it's much better to take 13 damage and deal about 25 to 30 back to her than take a guaranteed 30. It increases our HP efficiency by about 300%. Roughly. A little less than 300%. Okay. Well, Nepty's gone. We've got the Water Jewel. I feel like it takes a lot less time to get the Water Jewel than it does the Wind Jade. The Wind Jade we had to leave the forest that Solvering was in. Then we had to go into the boat. Then we had to go up to Larlock and then go through Cole Hazard. And then go through Greenock, or not Greenock Forest, Normoon Forest. Whereas here, we go through the Water Crystal Cave, which is big, but not that big. And we just go on this little island. And suddenly we got the water... What was it? The water something? Or what is this pixie doing? The Water Jewel. Really is just called Jewel. That seems like poor translation. Wind Jade. And the Earth Orb, but the Water Jewel? Like a jade is a jewel, right? Maybe not. What's the proper technical definition of a jewel? What's that you say? Broke through the barrier and recovered the Water Jewel? You're no average magician. I think I can trust the jewel to you for safekeeping. Don't lose it. I've guarded the Water Jewel for generations in hopes of one day handing it over to a great magician. I hope you are the one. Take it now and get this pirate out of my sight. Har! So that's the Water Jewel, is it? Maybe that could fetch a fancy price. Pirate would love to get his hands on it, but this sorceress would get angry with me. Oh yeah, it would be real fun to tease the sorceress. Maybe I might take it just to see her face turn red. Yeah, so Kiliak ends up sticking around here just to mess with Colleen. Oh, almost went on that transporter. That would have been unfortunate. That's mean. put a spirit there, people would accidentally step on the teleporter. Talk to Flappy here. Or, sorry, Chappy. His dialogue hasn't changed. You've obtained the water jewel, I see. The truth is, that gem is not all it seems. Shut inside is the power of the L-Tail book. That means if you are not worthy of overwhelming forces, if you are not worthy, overwhelming forces will be released. But if you use your strength correctly, you can triumph over all. It is now up to you, Master Brian. You were the spirit's chosen one from the time you picked up the crystal. I would not have wished such a thing upon one so young. Now you can return to the town from the stone circle. Be careful as you go.